The following clips come from a guy named Dan who's convinced his home is haunted by the ghost of a little girl, and he's been recording the strange things that have taken place there over the years. One Halloween, he decided to break out a Ouija board and try to make contact with whatever presence he felt was sharing his space. The whole thing was captured on video.
Happy Halloween. We're gonna try this again. Didn't work out too well last time. I'm a bit like this. If you didn't see what happened last time, I'll annotate defy it up there somewhere. 1, 2, 3. I didn't sway. I don't know. I'm tempted to run out the garden. I really can't do anything with that anyway. Okay, what noise is going on? Alright, that's pretty much garden plan. The power of Christ compels ye. I feel like a fool. There we go. Yeah, that's kind of... I'm using my Ouija.
According to Dan, this wasn't his first time using the board, and almost every session seemed to be followed by something he just couldn't account for. Then one morning, he came downstairs to find every single cabinet in his kitchen had been flung open overnight. He grabbed his camera to show his audience exactly what he was dealing with, and here's what it recorded.
Guys, I'm so scared right now. I just woke up and I went downstairs and all the cabinets are open, and I went to bed last night. These cabinets, they were closed. And I really think this poltergeist or spirit is really out to get me. But look, these cabinets, they were all closed last night when I went to bed. And I woke up, this is how they are. I'm really, really scared right now. Just want to shut all these. I figured I'd get it on camera so if something happens, at least it's documented. Alright. I think I'm just going to go downstairs and chill out and edit for a little while. Oh, shit!
The experience shook him so badly that he claims he twisted his ankle trying to flee the room. He's gone quiet since then, with no updates in quite some time, leaving everyone who followed his story wondering what was truly going on inside that house. Some feel the evidence points to something that genuinely defies explanation, while others are convinced the whole thing was staged. So where do you stand? Was Dan's home actually haunted, or was something else entirely behind it all? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. At 12:46 a.m., a girl was jolted awake by something terrifying inside her bedroom. The footage you're about to see was recorded on July 22nd, 2026. A mother had been noticing strange occurrences throughout her home, and after her daughter moved out, the basement bedroom sat completely empty. She decided to keep a security camera running in there to document whatever might be going on, since odd things had a habit of happening. One afternoon, she stepped inside to grab something from the closet, and that's when things got weird. closet door swings open on its own while she's in there, though she finds nothing unusual inside. Then an object suddenly drops, sending her scrambling out of the room. A number of viewers suggested the door had bumped into the basket when she shut it, so she posted a follow-up to set the record straight. She wanted to tackle this comment head-on because it kept coming up. She acknowledged that yes, the doors are bifold, and yes, they're broken. And that's exactly why they swing open sometimes, but not constantly. She pointed out that if you'd followed the other videos and everything the family had been dealing with in that house since 2018, you'd understand. She stood there for a while demonstrating that the doors don't just randomly fly open. Then she showed herself opening the door exactly as she had on the day in question, with the sewing basket sitting flush against the back wall of the shelf. She wanted everyone to clearly see the gap between the closet door and that shelf.
I wanted to address this comment because it has come up a lot, besides the fact that the doors are broken and they're bifold doors and they do that. These doors don't just pop open all the time on their own. I get that they're bifold doors and they're spring loaded and that can happen, but it doesn't happen all the time. Especially if you've seen some of the other videos and the stuff we've been dealing with in this house since like 2018. Like, look, I've been standing here forever and nothing's happening. Like, they don't just pop open. So anyways, I did want to address this comment, so I'm just going to show you. So I'm opening this side just like I did the day when I was grabbing my bag and some clothes out of there. If you look up on the shelf, there is the sewing basket. It is right flush up against that back wall. I just want to show you the distance between the door, the closet door, and that shelf. Tell me how this door that is that far away from the shelf, like that far away from the shelf, clipped that.
She then asked viewers to explain how a door positioned that far from the shelf could have clipped the basket and sent it tumbling down. She challenged anyone to make that logic work in the comments. And even if the closet incident had a rational explanation, this family had been dealing with paranormal activity in their home since 2018. Back in 2020, when her daughter was still living there and sleeping in that basement room, she began complaining about unsettling things happening to her at night, which is what prompted them to set up a camera in the first place. Then one night, her daughter was startled awake by something. See what the camera captured. A knocking sound pulls her out of sleep, and then something tumbles out of the closet. She switches the light on but finds absolutely nothing there. It was still more than enough to drive her out of the room for the rest of the night. Even now, after all this time, the family has no explanation for what's been happening. Like so many clips before it, this one leaves us without any answers. Andrew, a travel vlogger, had booked a remote Airbnb for a solo night stay, completely surrounded by open, empty land. Things felt calm at first, until strange sounds from outside started cutting through the noise of his shower. Unsettled and curious, he pulled out his phone and hit record.
While I was in the shower.
Hello?
What the?
Hello? It's just me, guys, in this Airbnb. So it's literally just me out here. I'm in Indio, and literally no one else is around. It's literally all empty. I usually don't post content like this, Hello? Guys are there. Hello? I'm gonna get inside. Okay, I don't know what's going on ahead. I don't know what's going on out here, guys. I'm definitely gonna check out my B&B if this keeps up, y'all. I'm dead ass gonna just hop in my car. I'm gonna lock all the doors in the house.
The moment he stepped out the door, the quiet kept getting broken by distant knocking, rustling in the brush, and what a lot of viewers are convinced sounds like a faint child's voice, somewhere out in the dark. Sweeping his flashlight across the area, Andrew came up empty, no sign of anyone around, which only deepened his suspicion that something, or someone, was out there just beyond the reach of the light. The experience left him rattled, and to this day, whether those sounds came from some animal in the night or something far harder to explain is still an open question. One viewers are left to answer for themselves. A man by the name of Michael had been sound asleep when he was jolted awake by unusual sounds echoing through his home. Determined to figure out what was going on, he picked up his camera and began filming as he went to track down the source. Then just moments into his search, things took a deeply unsettling turn. Knox suddenly emerged from behind a shut door, and the instant he spun around, the door began to swing open by itself. Over near a curtain, something seemed to shift and pull back, almost as though a figure had been lurking there. Michael darted over to check it out, only to find the space completely vacant. So what do you think was really going on? TikTok user named Cheeky Chica explains that her grandfather has a collection of vintage dolls and mannequins, something that genuinely unsettles her every time she visits her grandparents' home. Late one evening, she's sitting with her laptop surrounded by these eerie figures when something happens that stops her cold.
This thing just moved.
Boy, all the talking head would have been screaming about the Dallas Cowboys and the skipping forward in this organization. So again, kudos to the Cowboys going on the road, getting a good win. See how we win. But there's a saying in golf: there's no pictures on the scorecard. If you're down, you don't care if it's by 5 or 3. You're just happy that you moved for 2 or 2. The injury to Parsons and anything at this point, he just let life go.
Are you real? You can do it again. I won't watch.
Her initial reaction is pure dread. She flees the room, and the door drifts slowly closed behind her on its own. But she heads back in and attempts to recreate what she witnessed, and sure enough, it happens again. Reflected in the mirror, you can watch the doll's hand slide unmistakably across its knee. But here's what you really need to pay attention to. A fraction of a second before that hand shifts, a dark shadow glides across the wall, moving directly toward the doll. So what's really going on here? Is this aged antique possessed by the soul of a previous owner? Or is the whole thing a carefully staged trick? That's for you to judge. Man from Mexico says that every single night at around 3 in the morning, someone would knock on his front door. Yet each time he answered it, nobody was there. On the night of September 11th, 2025, he was jolted awake once again by that same eerie knocking. Someone was at the door. Turn up your volume for this. Just like every other time, he swung the door open to find absolutely nobody standing there. But then, a few minutes later, after he'd stopped recording and was getting ready to go back to sleep, he glanced through the window and froze. A strange elderly woman, dressed entirely in black, was standing motionless in front of his car. He quickly grabbed his phone and took a photo. She was completely still, her gaze fixed on the house. Her face was expressionless and unnervingly pale. He had no clue who she was. Shaken to his core, he retreated to his bedroom and forced himself to sleep. The following night, however, the knocking returned, only this time it sounded a little different. Pay close attention here. He crept toward the door as quietly as he could, but when he finally opened it, there was no one on the other side. Instead, he found a tree branch sitting on the ground, with a black cat perched nearby in an almost unsettling state of calm. In the caption accompanying the video, the man stated that the woman was a witch attempting to get inside his home, and that the cat was most likely just another form she had assumed in order to gain access. Once the video spread across the internet, countless viewers began weighing in, with many suggesting that unexplained nighttime knocking is frequently associated with skinwalkers or witches, and warning that you should never open your door when it happens. Several people pointed to the photo of the woman, observing that although she looked human enough, the fact that she was standing there staring at the house at 3 a.m. seemed to lend real weight to the uploader's claim that she could be a witch. So what's your take on all of this? Who do you think that woman really was? Drop your thoughts below. Picture an ordinary night at home, everything calm. Nothing out of the ordinary. It's precisely in these peaceful moments that something unexpected can shatter the routine, transforming a casual family recording into a deeply unsettling puzzle. That's the situation one father found himself in while filming his daughter. Whatever she spotted beyond the window left her shaken to her core, and there's a good chance it'll have the same effect on you. Pay close attention to what unfolds.
No, there's not.
Just beyond the glass, an eerie silhouette flickers into view for a brief moment, appearing to watch what's happening inside before disappearing without a trace. Unsettled and curious, the father heads outside to check the surrounding area. He combs through the space around the house thoroughly, yet turns up absolutely nothing that could account for the figure. When the footage is reviewed a second time, this time with the brightness and contrast pushed, even more troubling details of the shape begin to emerge. Even so, no one can say for certain where it came from. So was this a real encounter with something supernatural, or just an illusion born from shadows and light, playing tricks? We'll let you be the judge. For the course of several months, a man going by the name Claymore uploaded a series of deeply unsettling recordings taken throughout his house. Each clip came from a separate camera, yet all of them seemed to capture strange, unexplained activity at moments when nobody should have been there. The first incident happened while Claymore was still up, during what started as a perfectly ordinary late-night exchange that was about to go somewhere deeply uncomfortable.
I was literally just on the phone talking to my family about this. No f***ing way.
As Claymore lies in bed speaking to someone beside him, the partially open door suddenly swings farther into the darkness. No hand reaches into view, and no one can be seen entering or leaving the adjoining room. Claymore freezes and stares toward the doorway before finally gathering the courage to investigate. He searches the hallway and kitchen, but finds no visible intruder anywhere inside the home.
Alright, so the video you're all about to see is basically a series of clips I took from about 8 hours worth of footage that I filmed overnight using my laptop's external webcam. So the events in the video did not happen in this short of a succession as portrayed in the video. They're basically just a bunch of snips that I combined together instead of showing you 8 hours worth of footage.
Claymore is lying in bed mid-conversation with someone next to him when the door, already slightly ajar, swings further open into the darkened hallway on its own. No hand appears. No figure slips in or out of the adjoining room. Claymore goes rigid, his eyes locking onto the doorway, before he finally works up the nerve to go check. He moves through the hallway and into the kitchen, but there is no sign of anyone else inside the house. At the start of this overnight footage, the closet door behind the chair is nearly shut. With the room sitting completely empty under the camera's watch, that door gradually drifts open, revealing a dark gap behind it. Nobody walks in. Then an unexplained glow briefly lights up the already open doorway on the right side of the frame before vanishing entirely. Claymore says he had no idea where it came from and only noticed the closet had been pushed open when he walked into the room the next morning. Just before dawn, Claymore's indoor Ring camera triggers a person detected alert in what appears to be an empty front room. Sounds resembling footsteps can be picked up somewhere off camera. Then another strange noise cuts through the quiet, followed by what sounds like knocking coming from somewhere inside the house. Still, no figure moves across the floor, no door shifts, and nobody ever steps into frame. Every one of these moments could theoretically have a mundane explanation. Shifting air pressure, a warped hinge, or someone just outside the camera's field of view could all explain the moving doors, and the strange light might have been nothing more than passing headlights or another light source already in the home. The Ring camera's alert could easily be a false positive triggered by infrared interference or the vaguely human silhouette of a hanging punching bag. The exterior camera footage was also recorded at a separate time, meaning it cannot actually confirm that no one approached the property while the indoor events were taking place. But if Claymore's videos are authentic, the combination of moving doors, an unidentified light, footstep sounds, and unexplained knocking builds a genuinely chilling picture, one where something in that house seems to stir whether Claymore is awake to witness it or not. Sometime in the early 2000s, a long-abandoned psychiatric facility in Massachusetts called Danvers State Hospital stood as a relic of a deeply troubling past. The institution had closed its doors back in 1992, but before that, it had housed an estimated 3,000 patients, all of them severely mentally ill and subjected to appalling conditions. Former nurses who worked those halls described memories so disturbing they never fully went away. Patients left to wander in their own filth, denied even the most basic care, and others subjected to forced lobotomies that frequently left them in a far worse condition than when they arrived. These are the kinds of recollections that still follow those employees decades later. Beyond its grim history, though, Danvers State Hospital had also built a reputation for being deeply unsettling in its own right. Once the building went dark in 1992, local teenagers started showing up, drawn in by whispers that the place was haunted. Now, the footage we're about to look at wasn't shot by some thrill-seeking kid sneaking in after dark. It was recorded by an on-duty security guard in the year 2000, a man whose entire job was to watch over that historic structure. What he had no way of knowing was that a single trip down to the basement would result in him capturing something he couldn't explain. See for yourself what unfolded. It's a little difficult to make out at first, but as the guard swings the camera toward one of the basement rooms, a shadowy shape becomes visible, moving slowly through the darkness inside. He didn't even notice it in the moment. It was only after reviewing the footage later that it caught his eye. Understandably, it shook him. What the camera appears to show is a tall, slender silhouette drifting further back into the room, almost as though it's deliberately retreating from the light. Here's the part that makes it even harder to dismiss. That basement was completely sealed off from outside access, meaning no unauthorized person should have been able to get in there. It's easy to understand why so many viewers came away convinced that something otherworldly had been recorded. The real question, of course, is one nobody has been able to answer. What exactly was that thing? Ghost or something else entirely? Whatever was captured down there has never been explained. Our next clip comes from a man by the name of Glenn, living somewhere in England. Glenn believes his house was built directly over an ancient burial ground, and he's convinced that this is the reason behind the relentless paranormal activity he's been dealing with. Over the last 8 months, he's been thoroughly documenting everything: aggressive poltergeist behavior, shadowy figures, unexplained sounds, frequently catching these frightening moments as they happen during his TikTok live streams. In this particular instance, Glenn witnessed a teddy bear shift on its own in his living room, and he immediately grabbed his camera to capture what came next.
He once again has just flown from there to there, and when I say flown, it literally catapulted from next to that teddy to there, but it didn't bounce and it didn't roll, it just literally stopped dead right where it is now. Now I don't know what his obsession is.
Yesterday, that teddy's the one that kept moving yesterday. From that spot as well.
Can you hear that? I've got the windows open, people, so you can hear the traffic going by. What is with this teddy?
Well, maybe we should get rid of it.
No, but seriously, this ain't fucking normal. Can you do it again? Can you move that teddy? Move that teddy. Jane? Jane?
What's that? Oh my god. What the fuck? Again, just shut the door. Just shut the door. Just shut the door. Just shut the door.
Oi! Did you hear that?
I can hear creaking behind me. So
Let's take a closer look at just how disturbing this footage really is. The clip opens with Glenn speaking directly to whatever unseen presence is in the room, challenging it to move the teddy bear again for the camera. Rather than the bear responding, the heavy door leading to his daughter's bedroom begins to slowly and eerily drift all the way open by itself. At the exact moment the door swings wide, a small vanity table inside that room suddenly crashes violently onto the floor. But the single most bone-chilling part comes when Glenn musters the courage to walk into the room and bend down to pick the vanity back up. Plain as anything, a deep and guttural growl that sounds almost demonic screams the word no, visibly stopping Glenn cold in his tracks and sending a shudder straight through him. Woman on the train. A woman was riding a train, minding her own business like any other passenger, except those seated near her sensed almost immediately that something was deeply off. Her behavior put the entire car on edge, erratic, unsettling, wrong in a way that was hard to name, and witnesses later described it as less like someone going through a medical episode and more like someone whose body was no longer their own. Then without any warning, she threw herself at the man seated beside her. He struggled to push her away and the whole carriage erupted into chaos. You can hear voices overlapping and screaming throughout the footage.
Next stop, Churchill Station.
Whoa, chill. Chill. Whoa, shit. Hey.
Everyone is scrambling, trying to make sense of what they're witnessing. Someone dials emergency services. It takes a serious effort from multiple people just to restrain her.
oh my god.
Nah, I'm playing on that bullshit.
Sit down. Everyone sit down.
Put your hand behind your back. Do it now.
Got a hand back.
When officers finally managed to bring her under control, they were just as baffled as everyone else. No alcohol, no substances, a completely clean toxicology report, no documented mental health conditions, no prior incidents on file, just an ordinary woman who came apart on a commuter train for no identifiable reason, leaving every single person who was there with the exact same haunting question: had something else taken control of? A group of friends are killing time at a house party when they wander into the host's younger sister's bedroom. The room is packed with toys and games, among them a Simon memory game. Under normal circumstances, the toy just flashes colored lights and plays tones for the player to echo back. But on this particular night, the friends start to suspect it might be doing something far stranger.
Okay, so
Okay, I'll go. Okay, is my shirt black? Dude, this thing is possessed, man. This thing is possessed.
Ask a no.
Am I a girl?
It looks at first like they're just goofing around with the thing, But rather than running through its usual light sequences, the Simon seems to actually respond to their words, almost as though something is using it to communicate. The group had only headed upstairs out of sheer boredom. The little girl wasn't around that evening, so they settled into her room, surrounded by her drawings and playthings. Then the toy starts behaving oddly, and the entire atmosphere in that room shifts.
Dude, it was acting up earlier.
You guys keep being here.
Alex was all good.
Really? Hang it up.
This thing is possessed, man. This thing is possessed. All right, okay. Ask me a question. Ask me a question.
What color is the sky? Wait. I guess I need to ask yes or no. Is the sky blue?
No! Dude, come on, ask it a question.
It's probably just like broken.
Dude, get over here. Ask it a question, dude.
First of all, it's not even yours.
It's kind of exhilarating.
Dude. Yeah.
Am I black?
Oh! Oh! It knows, dude. It knows. It knows.
Stuck on the green button or something.
That's good. No.
Am I a girl? Oh!
Okay, so it knows.
Dude, it knows, dude.
So
This thing's it's like one of those Ouija boards, dude.
Yeah,
it knows. Oh.
My mom played with one.
Okay, have you guys not seen horror movies?
Oh, dude, the picture, dude. The picture.
Oh. She drew that?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, this will actually like tell.
Okay. Are you with us in this room?
Like 2 fingers on it or something.
Oh! Oh my gosh, that's so creepy. That is so creepy, dude.
Okay, is this
find that thing?
Dude, it's just on the floor, man.
Yo, are we actually haunted right now?
Dude, I'm like actually kind of scared, dude. Like, what even is that? Okay. All right. Well, let's get real crazy.
I'm leaving.
Did you guys hear from there?
What?
Window? It came from right here, yeah? There, you see that? We're on the second
Oh, okay, all right. Okay. All right.
The friends bolt out of there after something taps against the window. The unsettling part? That bedroom sits on the second floor with no balcony and no obvious way for anyone to be standing just outside the glass. Afterward, they start wondering whether a mysterious figure sketched in one of the child's drawings might have something to do with what went down. Some viewers think the toy was essentially being used as a communication device, possibly by whatever that little girl had drawn. True or not, everyone in that room walked away convinced that something had been responding to them.
is the sky. Wait.
So was this just a glitchy toy? Or did these friends unknowingly make contact with something through it? For now, the unexplained responses and that knock at the window are still without answers. In this opening clip, we're looking at footage recorded by a security camera showing a man strolling casually down the street with a bucket loaded with flowers strapped to his back. On the surface, it looks like a perfectly normal moment, but before he even makes it out of the shot, the camera picks up something genuinely unsettling. A young girl's voice can clearly be heard calling out to the man, prompting him to stop and turn around. Once he heads back toward the house, the voice speaks again, this time asking him for one of his flowers. The man looks around and sees nobody at all, so he shrugs it off and continues walking. But he doesn't get far before a group of locals stop him and want to know why he approached that particular house. They tell him no one has lived there for some time and that the property has been completely empty. Shaken by this, the man, who appears to be a flower vendor, makes his way back to the house and sets a flower down at the gate, seemingly convinced he may have just had an encounter with something from beyond. The moment he places it down, the residents start mentioning that strange things have been reported there before, and that plenty of people in the neighborhood already believe the place is haunted, almost as if the house itself wanted to confirm everything they were saying. That's precisely when the most terrifying moment of the entire video unfolds. Right before our eyes, something appears to dart across the space and snatch the flower, dragging it inside the house in an instant. The footage cuts out shortly after, giving us no sense of how anyone reacted or even whether they caught what just happened. Still, knowing the locals say this is far from the first incident raises a question that's hard to shake. What else have they already seen at that place? There was no reason for this man to see the night turning out the way it did. He was inside his own home, a place he knew inside and out, and nothing about the hours leading up to that moment had hinted at what was coming. Then his door crashed shut with a force that had no business coming from a residential interior, not the kind of thing you chalk up to a breeze, or a faulty hinge, or any of the rational explanations your brain automatically cycles through when something goes wrong inside your own four walls.
Phone, look at that windows wide open, door. What the? No. There's some there. That is 100% a person in my shed. Yo, that's a person in my shed.
He had a camera running, and it was what the footage picked up in the immediate aftermath of that slam that pushed this beyond a simple case of a door swinging too hard. A sound rose from somewhere near that door, low, throaty, and deeply out of place for the inside of a house. A growl emanating from a spot where anything physical, whether human or animal, would have been plainly visible.
Hey! And I saw something on the Ring camera. I see movement. Who's up here? Hey, come on. Is somebody up here? Hey. Look, come on, man, please.
Despite every instinct that should have told him to stay put, he moved toward it. The camera kept rolling, recording him as he made his way slowly through the darkened house, calling out into the quiet, repeatedly demanding to know who was there. His voice carrying that telltale tension of someone working very hard to project a calm they absolutely do not feel. Not a single response came back to him. He went through each room deliberately, every corner, every closet, every shadowed hallway, every space large enough to conceal a presence, and came up empty every single time. Each room looked untouched, completely ordinary, offering nothing in the way of answers or evidence that anything else had been there. What the house gave him in return was silence, a silence that seemed to deepen with every step, dense and unrelenting, wrapping itself around him as he moved. No shuffling, no distant noise, nothing to meet the questions he kept throwing into the dark, just that same oppressive stillness trailing him from one room to the next.
Come on, man, I'm calling the police. If somebody is in here, the police will be here in 5 minutes.
He announced that he was contacting the police, delivering the warning with the kind of forced authority that belongs to someone who needs to feel like they still have some control over what's happening around them. It landed exactly as everything else had, without a response, without a reveal, without anything stepping forward. The door that had slammed sat perfectly still. The growl that had followed it had no traceable origin, and the house held onto its quiet, as hollow and undisturbed as a tomb. A spine-chilling piece of footage was recorded by the dashboard camera of a truck making its way down a poorly lit stretch of road. The clip captures an unsettling mood that perfectly mirrors the loneliness of driving at night, right up until something deeply strange enters the frame. See for yourself what unfolded. As the truck rolled along the deserted highway, its dashcam happened to pick up a disturbing figure lurking at the edge of the road. She appeared to be a woman dressed head to toe in ghostly white, positioned in an unnerving, crawling stance. What makes it even stranger is that the camera seemed to catch her raising her hand in what looked like a wave, a gesture that felt completely out of place in that isolated darkness. Looking more closely, you can make out her face, drained of all color, which only deepens that creeping sense of dread. Woman was driving home late one night when she spotted the lights on in her daughter's bedroom, despite the fact that her daughter wasn't there.
Creepy happened when I got home. I was driving down the street, and my daughter's bedroom light is on. So I'm like, that's weird because she's at her dad's house for a couple nights. She's not home. So I parked my car right over here, and when I park my car, I see her bedroom curtains are also opened a bit. So now I'm freaked out, right? And my doors were locked. But my house was built in like 1910.
After pulling into the driveway, she took a harder look and noticed the bedroom curtains were slightly parted as well. Fearing the worst, she headed inside to investigate.
Someone didn't, break in or something. So I have to actually go in my house right now, and I'm recording it because I'm scared. Alright, so here we go. I'm like shaking right now. Like my hormones are, like my adrenaline is going again. Like I have to go up my creepy dark stairs. None of the lights are on upstairs. This is not fun. And I've been hearing weird shit in the attic, bro. Oh, fucking spooky. That's her room. Just turn the light on. I don't know which way I should point the camera. Bro, I'm freaked out. I'm gonna go in my bedroom first. Turning the light on in here. Ah! Why isn't it turning on? Okay.
Initially, the room appeared completely undisturbed. Then she spotted it. A painting had come off the wall, and the chair that should have been tucked in front of the desk had been moved out of position.
Everything is like normal in here. But her painting fell. This painting she made was hanging on the wall and that fell. Her chair that belongs to her desk is here, but that just might be normal. Like maybe she was playing with it. I'm gonna look in her closet. Dude. Everything's normal. I'm gonna shut her light off. Like the LED lights are on in my other daughter's room and those always go on. Dude, it was fucking creepy. I'm looking behind the shower curtain. Ha! Nothing there. Weird. Like that light was off last night. I was here in my house sleeping. I hate when that light is on because if I close my door and the light is on, it shines through this crack. It's gotta be a fucking ghost. Like my house was built in like 1906, not 1910, 1906.
She went through the room carefully one more time, but nothing else seemed off. Still, she was convinced that someone, or something, had been in there because her daughter had definitely been away, and the lights were off when she left the house. So what exactly went on while... Alright, let's zero in on just one thing here. Pull out the main subject and you've got something that already looks unsettling on its own, but what's sitting in front of it makes the whole thing even stranger. And in spite of everything, this has been creeping people out for years now, with no sign of the weirdness letting up. Well, not too long ago, they stumbled upon what was hiding in that upper basement. And honestly, you're not going to be prepared for this. Hang on, let's go back through the footage. Wait, is that Jimmy spotting a grizzly bear leaving the room? And what on earth is that? Some kind of doll locked inside a glass case? Jimmy's keeping a doll? When we zoom in closer, you can clearly see the doll's head keep snapping backward in a way that looks completely wrong. Hold on, did someone just destroy their own sign? Kathy then uploaded a follow-up clip from a different angle to give everyone a better look at this deeply unsettling doll.
Down here makes me really kind of queasy feeling. So anyways, there's the doll. She's normally sitting in a straight up position facing forward. We've had her in this case forever. My daughter's room is there where the white door is closed, for those of you who don't know. And she walked by and she saw that the doll was looking like this. And she came upstairs and she said, Mom, like, were you guys downstairs? Did you bang into the cabinet? And so we checked our video footage because we have our camera hooked up. And no, this is how she is now. Just kind of leaning funny. I don't know, it's creepy. Jaden called her boyfriend to come over because she was nervous. So they're watching movies. He's here now.
So here's your takeaway for the day, folks. If a doll looks like it belongs in a horror movie, maybe just don't bring it home. The next clip comes from a guy named Mike, who lives somewhere in Poland. After relocating and getting settled into his new place, he began noticing strange, unsettling things he couldn't explain. To start, his cat would fix its gaze in one particular direction, as though it was watching something completely invisible. Shortly after that, objects around the home started moving on their own, and the situation has only escalated over time. Late one evening, Mike was drifting off to sleep with a movie playing on his laptop when he began picking up unusual sounds throughout the house.
Teraz co chwilę coś mi kurwa w okno puka balkonowe. No nie, kurwa! Pierdolę! O kurwa! Ja pierdolę. Nic tutaj nie ma. Kurwa mać. Mam już tego dosyć. Mam już tego kurwa dosyć. Nie mam kurwa. Kurwa mać! Nie!
Knocking noises appear to be coming from the balcony window, yet every time he goes to check, there's absolutely nothing there. On a separate night, Mike is jolted awake again by more sounds echoing through his home.
Znowu coś się dzieje. Ostrość.
Looking to get some answers, Mike goes out and buys an EMF meter to test whether there are any unusual energy readings around the property. Then, on yet another night, Mike is deep in concentration working on a digital illustration when something interrupts him.
Się skupić na rysowaniu, ale kurwa znowu coś się dzieje. Świeczki przed chwilą spadły, coś stukało. Już jestem zmęczony tym wszystkim. No nie, nie, kurwa. Ja pierdolę, no. Dobra, jeszcze sprawdzę, ale nic się nie dzieje teraz.
This time, the knocking is louder and more forceful, coming from somewhere in the house, though once again, he finds no explanation for it. He sweeps the entire place with the EMF meter, but the device picks up nothing at all. Mike still has no clue what's behind any of this, but whether it's genuinely paranormal or not, he was going through his security camera recordings, and what he discovered left him absolutely terrified. This unsettling and bizarre footage was captured by a surveillance camera in a small village in Brazil. The owner explains that upon waking up early one morning, he discovered that the fencing around his horses had been completely torn apart and a significant number of the animals had vanished. Initially, he assumed he'd fallen victim to a robbery, so he pulled up the security footage to identify whoever was behind it. But what the cameras had actually recorded was something far more disturbing and strange than he ever could have expected. And here it is. Without any warning, a small, dark, semi-transparent shape materialized out of thin air and began moving around inside the stable, sending the horses into a frenzy. Even more unsettling was what happened next. The figure disappeared in an instant, as though it had never existed at all. The man was left completely shaken after watching the recording back, and to this day, he has absolutely no explanation for what that entity could have been. Many who have seen the footage believe it captures a genuine apparition. What do you back in March 2026, a man living in the United States received what can only be described as the most deeply unsettling voicemails anyone could imagine. He had been on his way home when a call started coming through on his phone, which was sitting on the back seat. He gave it a moment before pulling over to check it. When he picked up the phone, he noticed a missed call from an unknown number, but then something else caught his eye. His ex-wife had also tried to reach him the previous night. He'd been away at the time and hadn't picked up, so she had left a string of voicemails. Before getting back behind the wheel, he decided to listen to them, and what he heard sent him straight to his phone to dial the police.
So I'm pulling up. This is from last night. Did you saw the email I sent you?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you want to go through these again, but I don't know if you listened to them. They're f***ing scary.
What?
That is scary. Like, that gave me chills the first few times. And I was talking to my barber today. It's at what point does she decide to do something actually f***ing crazy?
Right.
I don't know how scared I have to actually be.
So, has the state reached out to you?
No, I didn't know anything till this letter, and the letter got to me too late, so I could never give a victim impact statement.
Okay, you can still submit that.
I will, but...
But it really sounds like you need to proceed with like a no contact order.
An officer arrives on scene and asks the man to walk her through what's going on. He describes what he heard and explains that he's seriously worried about his ex-wife's well-being. As the conversation unfolds, it becomes obvious to the officer that this isn't a man trying to cause trouble for his former spouse. His concern is completely genuine, and it extends to the safety of their children as well. Then he plays the voicemails for her.
I have what you sent me, and I'll submit those already, but just to put them on camera, yeah.
You heard the one of myself and help.
Yeah.
Right?
So 144 was when she started leaving voicemails?
This will, I believe, have been, yes, that's the first voicemail. These previous two did not.
Okay. Okay, play the other one.
Okay, we're up to second one here.
Please for mom.
That was 145. This is 146.
You marry him back, and you want everybody in jail for your love. You are you know that. You're alive. You're alive. You're alive.
You were with her for many years. You're positive that is her voice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. 47. 149. I hope she gets some help from this. I hope that this leads to a good resolution, because it's my kids. You know, this is their mom. It's scary. It's 150. 152. This is 154.
The voice coming through the recording is horrifyingly distorted. The man says it sounds absolutely nothing like his ex-wife, and he can't make out a single word she might be saying. Given that the voicemails were left the previous night while his kids were in her care, his mind immediately jumps to the darkest possible conclusions. He also mentions that his ex-wife had no prior history of substance use and had never been in any kind of trouble before, at least not until very recently, which makes the whole thing even harder to explain. When the footage was posted to the police department's official website, it spread across the internet almost instantly. Some viewers suggested the woman may have been experiencing a severe psychotic episode, while others couldn't wrap their heads around how a human voice could sound so disturbingly inhuman. For that second group, demonic possession felt like the only explanation that made any sense, and honestly, it's not hard to see why.